Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open a dynamic visual guide to defeating those giant, scary challenges you face at work or, at school. You know exactly the ones I'm talking about, right? The projects that just seem way too big, roadblocks that feel totally impossible to bypass, the issues that literally keep you up at night. Well, we're going to tackle them systematically today, and we're going to have a little bit of fun doing it. Let's dive right in by picturing our protagonist. Meet our cartoon manager. Notice how completely overwhelmed they look, just staring down this massive, tangled problem monster towering over their desk. I mean, we've all been this character at some point, haven't we? When a challenge gets this big, you can't just swing a sword wildly and hope for the best. You need a highly systematic way to untangle it. You need a rock-solid strategy.
And to defeat this monster, our hero definitely isn't going to just rely on luck. They're going to use the Phoenix Checklist. Now, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill brainstorming tool. No, it's a serious intelligence-level strategy reportedly born inside the CIA to decode incredibly complex, difficult problems. It was actually made popular later on by creative thinking expert Michael Michalko. So, we are officially arming our cartoon manager with a top-tier methodology. Here is the metaphorical treasure map our cartoon hero is going to use to conquer the challenge today. We'll be breaking down this 12-step methodology into 5 digestible phases: meeting the checklist, defining the problem, breaking it apart, generating actionable ideas, and finally, execution and learning.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Meet the Phoenix Checklist, your map to victory.
So what exactly is the Phoenix Checklist? Well, it's an intensive framework that uses 40 highly specific questions spread across 12 distinct steps. The goal here? Total coverage. It ensures that absolutely every single angle of a problem is thoroughly examined before you even attempt to solve it. It literally forces you to hit pause, look at the beast from 360 degrees, and gather your intelligence.
Moving on to Section 2, Defining your complex problem. Facing the monster.
The first 3 steps of the checklist really ground us. Step 1, we clarify the need. Why solve it at all? What are the benefits, and what resolution does our manager actually want to see? Step 2, we define the problem by isolating the exact unknown, like what isn't the problem? And then Step 3, we gather information. This means looking closely at what we already know and figuring out if our data is sufficient, insufficient, redundant, or even completely contradictory. Because honestly, you can't fight what you haven't defined.
So, the absolutely crucial point our hero has to ask themselves is this: clearly define what you don't know yet and establish the literal boundaries of the problem you're fighting. If you don't define those boundaries, the problem just feels infinite, right? But once our cartoon manager draws a physical box around the beast, it instantly becomes manageable. It has limits now, and things with limits, they can be defeated.
Next up, Section 3, Breaking the Problem Apart, Deconstructing the Beast.
Step 4 of the checklist asks you to tap into past experiences. Have you seen this monster before? Maybe it was wearing a slightly different disguise. Do you know a related problem? The checklist essentially prompts you to ask if you can just use a previously solved problems method to defeat today's beast. Our manager really doesn't need to reinvent the wheel if they already have a blueprint that worked perfectly well last year. Now, Step 5 is all about reframing. Instead of feeling stuck by your current limitations, what if you just change the rules to see the problem differently? The Phoenix Checklist asks, how many different ways can you restate this problem? Can you make it broader, more specific? Can the rules literally be changed? Because sometimes the absolute best way to beat the monster is to just invite it to play a completely different game. Moving over to Step 6, the checklist asks you to really break the problem down. Can you separate the various parts? What are their relationships to each other? If our manager can't solve the whole problem today, can they just figure out a tiny piece of the unknown? By solving just a part of it, you're effectively disarming the monster one limb at a time. It's a hugely effective way to start building some real momentum.
Let's roll right into Section 4, Generating Actionable Creative Ideas, the Eureka Moment.
Steps 7 and 8 challenge you to bridge that gap between analyzing and actually taking action. Step 7 asks you to visualize and plan by drawing a literal figure or diagram of the problem. Like, what should the final result actually look like? Then Step 8 is all about generating those creative ideas. What creative thinking techniques can you use? How many different ways have you already tried to solve it? Brainstorming is just so much more powerful when the problem is already chopped into pieces.
And visualization is a massive part of Step 7. By envisioning the absolute best, the absolute worst, and the most probable cases,
Our cartoon manager can actually predict bottlenecks before they even happen. They aren't just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best, they are methodically preparing for reality. This ensures that the actionable steps they're planning will actually hold up when the pressure is on.
Finally, Section 5. Execution, Review, and Learning. Vanquishing the problem.
Step 9 is all about rapid-fire logistics. Okay, you have the ideas, now you've got to force them into reality by creating a concrete action plan. The checklist demands immediate answers: who, what, when, where, and how. Leaving things vague at this stage basically just gives the monster room to grow back. Assigning strict responsibilities and tight timelines ensures your plan is executed flawlessly.
But wait, execution isn't the end of the line. Step 10 demands that you establish clear milestones and constantly review your results. How will you actually know when you're successful? Can you check the result? By closely monitoring progress, our manager can adjust their approach in real time. They can literally measure their progress as the problem shrinks from this towering, scary monster down to a totally manageable, everyday task. Finally, we arrive at steps 11 and 12. Step 11 asks you to apply your new insights to other problems. Can you use this victory to solve another issue entirely? What unique qualities really defined this specific problem? And step 12 is about concluding and reflecting. These final steps are there to ensure that the lessons you learned from defeating this monster are deeply internalized, which significantly improves your overall decision-making toolkit for the future. You don't just win today, you literally become a better problem solver for tomorrow.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer, and I want to leave you with a question. Think about your own workspace right now. What complex problem monster are you currently staring down? And honestly, more importantly, which challenge are you going to unleash your new checklist-guided superpowers on next? Just remember, no problem is too tangled. If you break it down, ask the right questions, and attack it systematically. Thanks for joining me on this visual guide to the Phoenix Checklist, and hey, happy monster hunting!